Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good afternoon everybody. Militiaman and Winnie, she showed up, but you know what? It's going to be fun tonight because she's been really saucy today, but you know what? She is such a sweetheart. She's put on weight and she's as solid as a rock. And she is brilliant. But she's loved, okay? Ophelia was in our video last time, and I know you guys, some of you guys like cats, some of you don't. But the cool part is, part of the family. Wally was in here a few minutes ago, and he has become so much more independent, but yet he is still as vocal as he's always been. And yes, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, that's when the alarm goes off. So anyway, but to get to the news, hey, there's been a few things that have been going on with Iraq, and one of the things I want to talk about a little bit is like relationships, because you know Iraq has the ability to be a mediator, and they've been used for that purpose for many years. And they're known for their expertise in the fact of trying to be that neutral party, and I think it's brilliant that they've picked a man like al-Sudani after all these years. I mean, we went through Abadi, and Maliki, and you know, et cetera, Al-Khatimi. And then now we end up with Sudani, and we all thought that we were going to see these things even years and years ago when Abadi was on the White House floor, on the White House lawn, and that didn't look so good, didn't go over so well. But at this stage of the last 18 months, you guys can see that Iraq has been knocking it out of the park. And you can see that the global financial entities and institutions in the world have been supportive. You're going to remember things like sustainable development. You're going to remember things about the Development Road Project, the Silk Road Project, but ultimately sustainable development has been a key factor. And they're also talking about that Iraq has the ability to do a lot of different things, and that is to bring stability, bring confidence to the world. And we're going to see some of that tonight in the sense of that there's relationships, right? When Iraq gets back to her place in the Middle East, in where she's fully sovereign and she's openly doing international business, I mean, you can see that they're whittling away a little bit about the military side from the United States of America, Great Britain and stuff. They're trying to get to the countries having bilateral relationships as opposed to like the Strategic Framework Agreement and other agreements that are on the table. And so Iraq is moving forward in that direction to be self-sufficient. And they're going to do that not only with their political side, but they're going to do that with their energy side and their business side, their borders. They're going to be self-sufficient, and they're going to bring lots of revenue streams into play. And how they're going to get some of that is because of the fact of the idea of sovereign guarantees. And that's where al-Sudani has been able to say that we're going to guarantee investors money. And you're going to see, though, that Iraq hasn't been involved so much in the as they have in the past because of the things that have transpired over many years, 20 years, if you will, and maybe a little bit less in this particular case. But Iraq's accession to the Gulf states is a distant dream, or is it a realistic goal? I'm going to give you my view on it, but this gentleman here says a political analyst estimates they varied. So analysts varied regarding reviving Iraq's ambition to join the Gulf Cooperation Council countries again, especially after recent statements that were by the Secretary General of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Jassim al-Badawi, during this reception of an Iraqi parliamentary delegation. Badawi stressed the strength of the fraternal relationship between the Council countries and Iraq, emphasizing that the importance of Iraq's stability and preserving the integrity of the unity to its territories, its full sovereignty and Arab identity, its social fabric, and its national unity is all part of this process that Iraq's going to be going through. I personally think that they're going to probably get and would expect full accession once they have liberalized their currency, or they have full accession to this group of people, because it's one of their rightful places. They've been one of the original people that are involved, or countries involved in it. And once they get to a global situation, Iraq is going to be able to offer far more than they ever have in the past. But they still offer what? That relationship, that they're able to be a mediator, that are be able to be neutral. And it's almost like the Switzerland of the Middle East. So that's interesting. We're talking about relationships. And then here's another relationship that's going to be really important, because you guys remember things that, like I said, there's going to be climate change, food insecurity, a lot of buzzwords that they talk about. Yeah, climate change, food insecurity. They're going to be talking about water. They're talking about artificial intelligence. And some of these buzzwords, you got to analyze it a little bit and say, well, why are they talking about these words consecutively and consistently? World Bank, IMF, WTO, WCO, World Customs Authority or Organization, the United States Treasury, U.S. Fed, if I forgot IMF and Bank of International Settlements, I mean, lump up all those into one big basket. They're all talking about the same language. And if you go back to Iraq's constitution, if you go back into the main plan from 2003, you're going to see the same words, sustainable development. You're going to see the same words, private sector, merging with the public sector. So that's where they are. That's where they were then. I know it's been 20 years, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have been here for 20 years, and a lot of people say blah, 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 blah. Well, that's fine. You guys can say blah, blah, blah all you want. But hey, again, just get caught up, because hey, obviously it was not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's been a growth episode, and you're seeing technology change, and you're seeing all these different things that have happened over the last 20 years that you've really never seen before. And if you really want to take stake into your own investment, think about it and see if you can find that what I'm saying is true, because we didn't have the IQD system. Okay, we didn't have the electronic borders, we didn't have digital, we didn't have blockchain, we didn't have the ledger-to-ledger stuff, we didn't have any of that, the electronic platforms, none of that. We didn't have any of that. So again, we didn't know, but now we do know. And now we can see that, what are they really doing? They're in the process of, and have said by a statement from the Prime Minister, al-Sudani, they launched the development road projects, April 30th. What are they going to do? How are they going to pay for it? We haven't seen that yet. That's still a big question. Everybody should ask themselves, why haven't they yet? Is it bigger than them? Or is there still some things that are left to be done that we don't know of? You can stress on that all day long, because I could probably fabricate stuff that'll take us for 20 decades from now, because that's just the way it feels. But the reality is, the truth is that they are moving towards going international, and quite quickly. And one of the key components of that is going to be, they're going to need, in this case, relationship. Why? Turkish ambassador. The government is serious about implementing their development path, the development road project. And what is it going to be about? It's going to be about a lot of things. And in this particular article, they talk about two sides, Turkey and Iraq. They talked about prospects for joint cooperation in economic investment, trade, quality control fields, ways to enhance and develop those things, in addition to discussing the water file. Water and energy are going to be totally key components. It takes water to get food, takes water to get energy or electricity. Okay, it needs gas, they can use that too. But think about it, water is going to be a key component, because why? Artificial intelligence. Didn't the World Bank and everybody tell you about artificial intelligence? What does that take to make that happen? It takes energy, it takes water. Okay, same with feeding you. Grow the plants, the potatoes, tomatoes, fruit, dates, all that. Iraq needs the water. Who's got some? Well, their neighbor does. That's the way the world works. Iraq has a share. Can they get more? We'll see. Do they have a problem with the oil deal that the Kurds did with Turkey? Yeah. Are they resolving it? Yeah, looks like it. Sounds like they have an agreement. We talked about it in my last video. So you guys got to see how all of this stuff is kind of emulating all at the same time. It's quite fascinating. So the two countries' developments and implementing the Development Path Road, which we know is the Development Road, activating the agreement to enhance investment between Iraq and Turkey, and again they reiterate the water file and joint measures in this regard. So relationship, what do they have? They got an oil relationship because they're going to make money of oil going through their port, and also they're going to have the Development Road project, which is going to bring goods and services through from the Port of Fao into Turkey. And you saw what? Google, you saw Facebook, the fiber optics that are in, communication. So the money that's going to be flowing into this country is going to be just astronomical. And I think that the likes of the biggest financial institutions in the world, they all know that. And I think that you know some of them because you know that the Buna platform has done deals in the past with who? JP Morgan Chase or JP Morgan, right? The Buna platform clearing the US dollar. They're going to talk about digitally because you're talking about blockchain, talking about that digital currency, etc. Those types of things. Clearing RTGS happened what? April 29th. Al-Alaq did that. April 30th, launched the Development Road project. Can they massage things? This is a tripartite budget, right? Totally different than ever before. First one ever. What are they telling you about? Why haven't they put the budget into the Gazette yet? They did it once so far. Why? Because that was what they voted on back in the early part or the mid part of 2023. Okay, it took them a little while to get it done, but they did it. And it was published, right? Okay, but guess what? They didn't. That was part. There was part and parcel to two different sides. There was an operational side and an investment side. So realize that obviously Rashid hadn't signed the budget, and they didn't do anything per se with it for some time or talk about it extensively. But the bottom line is that they said specifically that they can amend the budget. It's the government's right to be able to do that because of this budget. So likely. Exchange rate oriented, sensitive. They're keeping it close to their chest, even today. So keep in mind roadmaps too. Oh, one of the roadmaps is going to be water. And then Turkey Joint Permanent Committee renewed to the country's commitment to cooperation in the field of water in its second meeting, a roadmap for efficient use of water. They stressed the importance of continuity of the government of working with the committees. And it says the Joint Permanent Committee between the two countries was formed back with Minister Hakan Fidan to Iraq in August of last year. So they've been working at this, and they agreed to form it in a continuing of developing cooperation in the field of water and institutional sustainable and scientific basis. Sustainable is another one of those key words. Basically, in my opinion, water is going to be a bargaining chip for Turkey because Iraq's going to need it. But then again, so is Turkey. Turkey's going to need the fact that Iraq knows that Iraq needs water. But if Turkey, forgive me, wants to benefit, they're going to need to make a deal. And oil and water are energy. And so we're going to see how that goes. But the bottom line is Iraq has enough energy of their own, gas, right? They're not going to need to get more energy from Iran, neighbor. They can do it self-sufficiently. And so the model that here is Iraq is going to be a self-sufficient country. And they're suggesting that they're going to be self-sufficient by 2025. That's not just a few months away. Half a year, right? Okay. So anyway, start selling dollars to travelers next week and the new procedures for traders. We're going to switch gears just a little bit. It says an informed source revealed on Wednesday that Iraq's government banks will start selling U.S. dollars to travelers starting next week, according to the procedures approved by the Central Bank of Iraq. So the Central Bank of Iraq is to sell dollars to travelers, official exchange rate at airports, indicating the step comes with the government's efforts to find solutions to current dollar crisis. Okay, source indicated the dollar will be delivered to travelers through the outlets of government banks located at the airports. Sounds like blah, 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 right? You've all heard this before? Okay, great. But guess what? There's a new mechanism coming. So we don't know what exact that new mechanism is, but they use the term new mechanism and they use it more than once. But anyway, it says, meanwhile, central bank decided to grant exchange companies of category A and B, the ability to register internal and external remittance activities via the FITR platform. Okay. It says the central bank stressed, according to official document issued on July 10th, today, that the ceiling for financial transfers in one day should not exceed the company's capital, of course. All right. So basically, the central bank revealed, it looks like on July 4th, it says Central Bank of Iraq revealed the new mechanism for travelers to receive currency, which is dollars, which will be exclusively through the outlets of companies and banks and international airports, stressing the goal of the new mechanism, which will enter into force on July 14th. That's this coming Sunday, or that's next week to Iraq. And next week starts on Sunday for Iraq, not for us, but for them, to deliver the dollar to real traveler and pass through sound transactions, in addition to facilitating travelers to access the dollar transfer. So basically, that little bit right there tells me why that we did see that they were going to go on strike, and then they backed off yesterday or this morning, excuse me, and are not going to strike. They were probably had a rude awakening saying, if you do that, you're going to have a real problem. And so sure enough, they backed off. And because they weren't just talking about banks and the government banks, but they're talking about all of those three entities, which is the outlets of companies, banks, at international airports, etc., will have a new mechanism. It says the central bank reviewed the new mechanism for travelers to receive their share of foreign currency by the traveling citizen to go. Authorized exchange companies will spread across all cities to deliver amount dinars equivalent to the citizen's share of the dollar according to the official exchange rate of the central bank. I'm not going to finish the whole article, but you get the picture. So there's a snippet that comes back from another article that we were talking about. It says the central bank restricts dollars grants to passengers at airports starting from July 14th. And they said, this part is what I focused in on, was the document confirmed the exchange companies should transfer their dealings to one of the above mentioned banks no later than tomorrow, 11/7/2024, which means July 11th, 2024, that the exchange companies need to transfer their dealings to one of the above mentioned banks that they're talking about. Right, so basically getting to that point of having those contractors take care of their items, etc., the exchange companies, and basically it's stating the possibility of other exchange companies are dealing with contractors, okay? So they're being inclusive to everybody that has a dealing with trading in the dollar. They're going to have to be playing by the rules, whether they like it or not. And you can't avoid it. And I think that that's probably a smart move on the central bank, especially at this time. And I have a feeling too, though, that what they're doing is they're like probably telling people that if you don't do this, you're going to have a big problem. And if you get on the bad side of the banking industry and you play outside the realm of getting on a blacklist because you're not playing by the rules, it's really difficult to get off that list, and it can be damaging to your business. And so I think that they probably had a wake-up call, and so therefore those 1,200 entities that were thinking about going on strike got a reality check. And because could you imagine holding massive amounts of US dollars when you could be holding dinar? And they change the value of their currency to show their purchasing power when they drop the 3 zeros? Because it's going to bring value. It's not a LOP, like a lot of people keep thinking and talking about. It doesn't bring any value. A LOP is like a reverse split. It doesn't change anything. It's silly. So anyway, I'm not going to get into it, and I'm pretty much done with it in my room as well. But moving forward, the Prime Minister directs the decisive procedures for the development of the work of the Raffidain Bank. This is going to be a big thing because I don't know if anybody really truly knows. Well, I think a lot of people truly know it, but not everybody. The Prime Minister, Mohammed Shiad Sadani, directed the Sudanese to resolve the procedures for developing the work of the Raffidain Bank. He goes on to say, a meeting on the development of the work of the government banks in the presence of representatives of who? Ernst & Young Audit and Financial Consulting Company. All right, so if you guys think about New York, for instance, right? You got JP Morgan Chase, you got Citibank, you got Ernst & Young. They do auditing. So the massive amount of auditing that Ernst & Young does for just those two is insane. Okay, so keep that in mind. Ernst & Young is working with Iraq. JP Morgan, Citibank, all have relationships with Iraq. And you guys should know that by now. And it's in print. So the Buna platform, JP Morgan, US dollar, Iraq dinar. So keep all that in mind. So it says here, we briefed a technical administrative procedure for the Rafidain Bank development project was taken during the period following the signing of the contract with the company specialized in structuring and developing work in the banking sector, in which advanced electronic programs are adopted, modern technology in all banking transactions, the optimal use of human and technical resources, and the transition to possible works, which helps the bank's ability to meet global banking requirements. Global banking requirements. That's what Ernst & Young is helping them with. A little bit more than that in here. The Rafidain Bank and others have been under study by Ernst & Young. Rashid, agricultural banks, there's plenty of them. There's a list, and we can get to that. But basically what they're doing is they have contracted for recommendations, and they did that when? That was in January of 2024. Okay, 3rd of January 2024, it says Ernst & Young to advise Iraq on banking insurance reforms, banking and insurance reforms. It says the 3rd of January 2024, Banking and Finance News, Iraq Industry and Trade News by a gentleman by the name of John Lee. It says the Iraqi cabinet has approved a series of contracts with the UK-based professional services from Ernst & Young aimed at reforming Iraq's banking and insurance sectors. Funny, sorry guys, light bulb just came on. There's another article out today that I don't know if I have it here, and I don't. I didn't print it, but I was wondering, I was like, how is it that His Majesty Royal, right, Iraq and Great Britain have a good relationship? And it just hit me like a light bulb, so I'll have to fix that. I'm sure Pompey Peter's probably going to laugh at me and go, man, you got to fix that. But don't worry. The bottom line is I'm talking about Ernst & Young, and their relationship to the country is a big thing because they're a big firm. So anyway, what is it? They had a roadmap. Okay, we talked about a little bit of a roadmap with Turkey and the water issues. Roadmap. And they're expecting within the banking system within 6 months, and that was back in January. And where are we now? We're in the beginning of July. So it looks like Ernst & Young is right on time, getting their stuff taken care of. And the next article says there's 4 decisions from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding government banks. The Central Bank of Iraq revealed a new plan regarding government banks, including Rafidain and Rashid. So there's more than one bank, but I'm going to go into a little bit more depth. The meetings that took place with the Prime Minister in the presence of the Governor of the Central Bank and the Minister of Finance regarding the decision of the Council of Ministers on 1/2/2024 and the proposed idea of transforming the industrial bank into a public joint stock company with the contribution of local and foreign investors, and the second phase would include the agricultural cooperative bank. Okay, and I think we're going to go on to find out that there's going to be more than that even. I think the real estate bank is going to go with the housing fund. But anyway, it goes here, the Rafidain Bank is restructured by dividing it into 2 banks, the old one for government accounts and the new one as a commercial bank public joint stock company. After that, Rashid Bank will be merged with a new Rafidain Bank. The industrial bank will be transformed into a public joint stock company. That's number 3. And then agricultural cooperative bank will be acquired. So they're going to do that as the 3rd term. And at a later stage, the real estate bank will be merged with the housing fund. So look, Ernst & Young is a roadmap, as we just heard, and they're ready. It looks like it's ready. I mean, they've had the 6-7 months that they've worked on it. The new plan is based on the data that Ernst & Young has provided them in this plan that Al-Sudani is talking about. After 6-7 months time, they have what I believe is a new mechanism for transferring balances that are completed already and or about to. Either way, they're doing it. This move is going to be bigger than we ever imagined, and it's going to be in our favor. I really truly believe it's going to be in our favor. A joint stock company is to be formed with that, and when they join this company, merge it, what comes from that? Value does. The joint stock company will likely be in demand on the markets. and a lot also likely have enough value to trade on not only the ISX, but as high as the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, because these banks in the past have had true good quality valuations. And now with the digital age, with the new automation of artificial intelligence involved, the new e-banking, e-finance, all of the blockchain environment, the exceptionally fast ability to do real-time gross settlements, all of that's been in place, and we've seen the borders interconnect and hook up, and their first phase is ready. And so just like this process is going to be a process, but once they get started, they're going to have to use an international Article 8 compliant currency. And that's where I think that JP Morgan would be fully aware of that. And guess what? When they merge these two banks, and they're the ones that are potentially capitalizing this bank, this merged association, that they're not only going to have the ability to do the lending for the loans for reconstruction and all the private sector projects, they have what? They have sovereign guarantees. Who wouldn't want to be in that position? I would think, yeah, of course, JP Morgan and Citibank, but there's probably going to be a lot of other people in the world that are going to take notice of that. And when I say demand for these joint stock companies, I think you're going to be fascinatingly surprised. So anyway, on January 3rd, Ernst & Young advised banking on insurance reforms. Roadmap was expected in 6 months. I mean, what did they do, miss it by 30 days or real close? What are they going to do? They're going to provide expertise and recommendations determining the time period required for the merger mechanism for transferring balances to the new bank. Most likely, at this stage of the game, 6-7 months in, they probably already have the accounts. We've already been told that the unified treasury account's in place, not saying that that's the specific one, but that's the one. You saw Kurdistan send over 150 billion dinar for non-oil revenue streams. What is non-oil? Where taxes, tariffs, borders, internal revenues, all that stuff aside from it. So obviously they are pushing this to fruition. And I think that people really should take into consideration what we just explained to some degree, to the best that I was able to, that the merger and acquisition of public banks, which is the state, right, to a private sector, okay? And that is going to be, last card Charlie, it sounds like. We'll see how it goes. But hey, everybody, relax, enjoy. I know it's hot out there, but stay cool, stay focused. We have a great study here with Patreon, Militiaman and crew, and everybody's welcome to come in, check out our Discord platform, and enjoy it. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.